On the Fringe with Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. The power of the pen is really where it's going to be at. Executive orders are going to cover a whole lot of things that are bound to happen. We obviously know that Congress is incapable of handling problems right now. House, much better, barely, than Senate. I say much, barely. That's funny, but again, they're sort of at least moving in the right direction, and they're held more accountable more often. Senate seems to be able to make these long-term deals. And right now, they've got some very strange stuff in there that is specifically attacking Hegseth. And it got through the Senate vote. It's passed, and it's down to the House. I'm not sure if the House has the gumption to push it back and say, we're not going to sign this because we're not going to tie Hegseth's hands behind his back. We've got an interesting thing, and in fact, a meeting that started about 26 minutes ago that we're going to talk about. We're also going to talk about some major corruption that's been going on and someone that's been indicted. That's a senator within the state, anyways. And we've got a lot to talk about. Got a lot of crazy things going on in the world, to say the very least. All that said, federal magistrate judge. She's rejected Tina Peters' ability to do this habeas corpus petition. Apparently, this was to try to get the federal courts involved to hear her case. They're basically saying, no, you need to exhaust all possible state court methods before you're allowed to go to the federal court. She'll never get a fair hearing, but this is just going to burn more time, burn more money, and it's just meant to punish Tina Peters even further. Now, oddly, former Douglas County teacher, she got 90 days in jail for sexual exploitation, aka pedophilia. Kristen Kasich took a deal and pleaded guilty to sexual exploitation in September. She got 90 days, but if you lie to the government, you get 9 years. Juice up a child? Hardly any time at all. Strange how this world works. There's a letter floating around right now from a Peter Tickton, and it was written to Donald Trump. Basically paints the federal crimes that Griswold was directly involved with. I want to read it. Dear Mr. President, I know you are aware that Tina Peters is a 70-year-old Gold Star mother, and that her trial was a travesty where she was not permitted to raise her defenses. I could go on as to her character, but I prefer to take this opportunity to explain why Tina Peters is a critical and necessary witness to the most serious crime perpetrated against the United States in history. They stole our whole country for 4 years. Dominion and its employees operated an illegal operation on our soil, which was supported and controlled by foreign actors. The Colorado Secretary of State, Jenna Griswold, aided and abetted Dominion and foreign countries in targeting Mesa County Clerk Tina Peters. First, Dominion directed Ms. Griswold to assist in deleting all data from Dominion brand election equipment by ordering a statewide trusted build. Secondly, Dominion demanded criminal charges be brought against Clerk Peters when it discovered that she had the only copy of the 2020 election conducted on Dominion brand equipment. Clerk Peters' copy of data was lawful, and she was entitled to image and preserve the 2020 election data pursuant to the contract Dominion signed with her as the clerk of Mesa County. Moreover, Clerk Peters was required to preserve the evidence of the election for 22 months pursuant to Federal Law 52 U.S.C. Section 2701. Clerk Peters' lone copy of the Colorado 2020 election is essential. Moreover, as is explained below, regarding current investigations, Clerk Peters is a necessary and material witness. She can testify as to chain of custody, corroborate recent responses to search warrants, etc. So, likely building the case for Trump to be able to use federal power to get her out, aka Pam Bondi, possibly. We'll see how that next step is played. It should be interesting, to say the least. Now, here's where Congress is going to withhold 25% of Hegseth's travel budget. And that's significant, I assume. It depends how they do that. If they're just saying 25% of it total, well, that's stupid, kind of, because, all right, well, I've got then 9 months I can use it, and then the last 3 months we'll hopefully figure something out. Whatever the case is, we'll see, but this has to do with they want to be able to see the whole video of the attack. Now, again, I would assume, and you guys can correct me in the military out there, but I would assume, because it would be stupid to do this, to blow up a boat and then just have the same thing, just scan it with video, like the IR or whatever, for like 2 hours straight, and then attack it again? I would assume you would leave it and then maybe come back to it and look at it. I don't know. Maybe they do. Maybe they've got resources that can just sit there and stare at something, and they got, multiple cameras. If you can do it, I guess, right? But maybe it took 2 hours for the smoke to clear or to see what was going on. But obviously the boat had uprighted, and from what I understand is the people that were not only alive were trying to get more of the drugs back on the boat. They were literally trying to collect the product, and they were trying to arrange for pickup. Now, I don't know if they've got proof of that. I would assume they might have some sort of radio call. But again, how much of that intelligence can regular Joe Schmoes have? Probably not much. But this is what they're trying to control. So here's what I think is unique. And this happened at literally just 31 minutes ago, supposedly. U.S. War Secretary Pete Hegseth, Chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff General Dan Kane, and U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio are expected to brief the Gang of Eight lawmakers on Tuesday afternoon, according to two sources familiar with the plan and a Trump administration official. The Gang of Eight Intelligence Committee and Senate and House of Representative leaders from both parties are traditionally briefed on major national security actions. The brief is expected to take place at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time, which, like I said, was 31 minutes ago from my moment in time. What I think is interesting, one, yes, they could very well be talking about Venezuela, but and maybe possible, considering that a leak occurred. Obviously, one or more of the Gang of Eight is leaking information. I guarantee you, these three individuals, Dan Kane, Hegseth, and Marco Rubio, did not leak this meeting, but yet sources close to this somehow found out. These three guys only told 8 people. It was a controlled information. Anybody else that found out, it's because of them. So now we know for sure that literally the part of Congress that's supposed to be the ones we can entrust classified information with, they're leaking that information to the press. We now know that. Unequivocally. Guaranteed. Hegseth, Raising Cane, and Marco Rubio did not leak this. No other way they could have found out. So a lot of interesting things are happening. And this is going to create a reason, a legal reason too, for military actions to be hidden from this group. Brunson case is making a lot more sense, at least coming up. I don't think quite that simply. I know there's a third one I heard. I got a guy that's really follows the Brunson stuff. Told me there's some third case. Couldn't give me any real solid details, but whatever. Huge amount of corruption going on. Most murderous cities. This is top 30 most murderous cities. I just wanted to point out that New Orleans and Memphis are number 1 and number 2, which is the first 2 places National Guard went, huh? All right, there you go. St. Louis, Baltimore, Washington, D.C., Birmingham, Alabama, Philadelphia, Kansas City, Richmond, Indianapolis, Milwaukee. I don't know, it's like close to your 10 right there. D.C. being significant because there's so many, and they say it's per capita, but it's such a small area. Washington, D.C. is a reasonably small area to my understanding. And so, yeah, it's a lot of homicides in a place with a giant police force, by the way. Extraordinary police force. Granted, they've got to be able to deal with a lot of crap because of the White House and Congress and all those people. So, I mean, it kind of makes sense that they would have a larger police force than many cities, but it's huge. It's like double like New York, triple or something. It's crazy. Governor Pritzker's sanctuary policies has freed 1,700 criminal aliens since January. People that had all sorts of very aggravated, very next level type crimes, felonies, right? Like aggravated assault, sexual assault, kidnapping, shootings, stuff like that. These are a few of my favorite things. 1,700 people. Just put them right back out on the street, because that's what you do. There's a letter that's been written to General Raul, whoever this guy is, he's the Attorney General in Chicago, apparently. And the ICE Director, Todd Lyons, he sent this letter to him. And he basically demands that they turn over 4,000 illegal immigrants that are in state custody right now. You have 4,000 hardcore criminals. 51 homicides are represented by this, 1,134 assaults, 107 burglaries, 36 robberies, 275 dangerous drug offenses, 120 weapons offenses, and 813 sexual predatory offenses, all shared amongst these 4,000 immigrants that are illegal. So Lyons says that Illinois has released more than 1,700 criminal illegal immigrants back into the community after spending time in prison instead of alerting ICE. The director requesting a response saying, please confirm whether the state of Illinois plans to honor detainers on these aliens or whether each of these barbarians will someday walk the streets of Illinois again. New Jersey governor. He's using his last months in office to free 31 convicted killers and promises more to come. 31 people convicted of murder, felony murder, or aggravated manslaughter. He's letting out. Last things he's doing before he's out of office. This is how the Dems roll, folks. Right here. Fentanyl-fueled park turns LA's oldest firehouse into a drug overdose command post. It's happening constantly. This is also happening in New York. They've got one of these same situations, these open-air drug use facilities, and they're having issues with overdoses and deaths on a very regular basis. So, yeah, see, people can't even wear their pants when they get that high. They don't even know how to wear their pants properly anymore. So a whole bunch of people doing drugs in cities. Here's Vermont, the Winooski School District. Yeah, they raised the Somali flag in place of the American flag. Probably going to love this. This will bring joy to your heart. I mean, of course, sarcastically, people. Yeah, there you go. Somali flag right there, yo. It's insanity. Jasmine Crockett's apparently got a little choked up during her speech when she admitted that she was going to be running for Senate in Texas, by the way. Guys, you better definitely not let her win. I'm definitely not going to play it either. I don't give a crap what Jasmine Crockett thinks, and I care less if she got all emotional. But what I do think is funny is Governor Abbott came out and predicts that Jasmine Crockett will get pummeled, I believe was the word he used because it's in quotes, pummeled in Senate race due to her progressive socialist agenda. And those giant glasses. Well, mouth is even larger, frankly. That'd be the worst part of being, God, guys, fellas, can you imagine being in a relationship with, I'm going to say that would drive me batshit crazy. All said, one thing that's fun about living here in California, they tell you that you want to conserve. You want to conserve water, right? First and foremost. What this guy's going to tell you, I can totally confirm. My water bill, it's funny, there's a fixed charge. I got a fixed sewer, fixed water. It is like $200 a month for my house, all right? This guy's is higher. But what's funny is usage is like $12 a month. All right, I might use 8 billion gallons, and it'd be like it's like $14 a month in usage. I could literally use zero water. I still pay $200. If I use a bunch of water, I pay like $212. Literally, I'm not joking. This is it. It's.
I pay $400 a month for water. California's reservoirs are full. Please make it make sense. You conserve water. California told you to. It's a drought. Cut back 15%. So you did. And then they charged you more because they're guaranteed a certain profit every year. Did you hear me? Guaranteed a certain profit every year. Use less water, they just raise the price per gallon. You can't win. Meanwhile, the reservoirs are full. We just got 30 trillion gallons of rain. Rewind that. 30 trillion gallons of rain, and they're raising rates 62%. Oh, and they're sending your water to the ocean for a 2-inch fish called a Delta smelt. You ever seen a smelt? You ever had a smelt sandwich? Have you ever seen smelt at the grocery store? Right next to the tuna aisle? No. What the hell is a smelt? Fish over families. That's California. You conserve water. California made you pay for it.
The one who smelt it dealt it. That's what I know. I'll tell you that much. Yeah, it's some stupid fish. Apparently care more about it than we do anything else at all in the world. which is, wonderful. A fire erupted at a Manhattan apartment building. They don't know how it started. They don't frankly know anything, frankly. But here's a little bit of story on it. By the way, I'm shocked it didn't fall into its own footprint.
New York City firefighters are responding to a blaze at an apartment building on Manhattan's Upper West Side. The FDNY posted an image on X showing flames erupting from windows on the top floor. The fire trucks cordoned off the scene as thick black smoke rose from the roof. The FDNY said the fire started at the 6-story building on 107th Street and Amsterdam this morning on the Upper West Side. The cause of the fire wasn't immediately known.
Yeah, they never know anything. Never do. Maybe though. Maybe they actually just. Maybe it was actually like a 100-story building, and that's all that's left. Right? Maybe that's what happened. Maybe that's what we're seeing. Maybe it already did crumble into its footprint, and just like the bottom 5 stories, because it's made of brick, and the big bad wolf wasn't able to blow that down. I don't know. I don't think so. I'm pretty sure it's just. Still surprised it didn't come to its own crushing blow. Well, we've got more horrible news for Tim Walz. This dude's racking it up. I think this is his 3rd major conspiracy that is costing billions of dollars to taxpayers in Minnesota. You guys have to be so very happy about the people up there. You have moose in Minnesota too, don't you? Maybe not. Maybe it's too far south. Who knows? Anyways, Tim Walz. He's a retard.
I'm Sandra Smith in New York. So one startling example sticking out concerns a program to help recovering addicts find stable housing. Initial estimates for the housing program was for just under $3 million annually. But an indictment shows grifters fraudulently billed Medicaid more than $100 million last year alone. Garrett Tenney is live on this out of Chicago for us. What do you have, Garrett?
Well, Sandra, several of the whistleblowers in Minnesota have told state lawmakers that by the time these investigations are through, they believe the actual size of this fraud, the amount of taxpayer dollars that has been stolen, could be higher than $8 billion. We are already seeing some of that. 2 days into the Small Business Administration's investigation, Secretary Kelly Loeffler says the agency has uncovered at least $1 million in PPP fraud. And the state itself is now looking into the possibility of fraud in another Medicaid program. Minnesota's Department of Human Services is now pausing the issuing of new licenses for disability service providers over concerns of fraud after an explosion in the number of applications for new licenses over the past 5 years, going up 283%, while the number of people needing those services only increased by 25%. Governor Tim Walz, who is up for re-election, is under fire for all of this happening under his watch, but he says they have investigated every claim of fraud that's come in, something whistleblowers dispute, and says the state is taking the steps it needs to keep it from happening again.
We've acknowledged that this is serious, needs to stop. It is stopping. People are continuing to go to prison. I think the good news for Minnesotans to know when that 90-day pause is over and the third-party audits are done, we will have a better picture than we've ever had, which I think is really good.
While all of these investigations are getting underway, Republican lawmakers are sounding the alarm about Minnesota's new paid leave program launching next month that allows anyone in the state, regardless of their citizenship status, to take 12 weeks of paid leave a year paid for by the state. GOP lawmakers say the program is ripe for abuse.
It was written so broadly that you can take advantage of it and abuse it, and no one's going to come looking for you. The taxpayers put in a bunch of money to launch the whole thing. So this is going to be the next horrible thing coming out of Minnesota.
And I talked about that. I talked about that too. That they could literally, and it's to illegal immigrants, by the way, as well. And it can be to support a family member who's ill. You get paid 12 weeks off from your employer, paid for by taxpayers, I assume, or from whoever, or just paid somehow, even if you're not working. This is going to be taken advantage of for sure by the small community, and also by many others. This is an insanely bad idea. This is what's going on in Minnesota. Now, no offense. I know a couple people from Minnesota that are actually rather intelligent, but doesn't seem so. Again, they obviously don't have control of their elections, right? We're always so quick to point out how they vote for this. No, we don't. None of us do. In the few states, by the way, that think you're like, well, we're getting it done. No, you're not. Texas, look at how much of you is blue already, yo. Get out of here with your big attitudes. Florida's come a long way. I'll give them some points. I'll give Florida some points. But still, there's A lot of Florida that's blue that shouldn't be. We need to get this under control, and we slowly are. Georgia Democrat state representative has just been indicted. Now, again, innocent until proven guilty, but indictments are indictments.
Indicted for fraud. We're learning more about this Georgia lawmaker. She is accused of illegally collecting pandemic benefits, and you're taking a look at Sharon Henderson. Federal investigators arrested her today. They say she collected nearly $18,000 in unemployment benefits using false information. Federal prosecutors say this happened while Henderson was a political candidate and later while serving in office. They believe she first applied for pandemic unemployment benefits in June 2020. At the time, she was running for a state house seat and claimed she was unemployed because Henry County schools had closed. Prosecutors say that information was false. They say she'd not worked for the school system since briefly serving as a substitute teacher in 2018, and that her employment agreement specifically said substitutes were not eligible for unemployment pay. Now, according to this indictment, Henderson continued certifying weekly benefits into mid-2021, including 8 filings made after she was sworn into office as a state representative for District 113. During those filings, officials say she repeatedly claimed she was unable to work because of pandemic-related issues, but investigators say those statements allowed her to receive $17,811 in benefits she was not entitled to. Now, she is expected to plead not guilty when she appears in federal court today. We'll continue to keep you updated on this story.
Yeah, so again, it's becoming common, and we're starting to see it all over the place now, just because it's kind of funny. Senate Democrats push to reprimand the Nick Fuentes and Tucker Carlson interview. We've got to. So all 47 senators under Schumer reprimanded publicly Nick Fuentes and Tucker Carlson because, that's what you do. I mean, this obviously is a very sensitive subject, I think, to a lot of people. I don't know why. I think it's hilarious. I love the fact that Tucker interviewed Nick. I don't care. Yeah, the dude's nuts. I don't listen or agree to anything he says at all. I didn't listen to the interview because I don't care about Nick Fuentes. But that's awesome, Tucker. Interview whoever the hell you want, man. So again, I think people are strange how they're like, well, you read a magazine one time that was written by somebody. It's like, stop. It's okay. We're allowed to hear from people. Sunlight is the best disinfectant. Anybody saying otherwise is crazy. I want to let you guys know about the Wellness Company. The Wellness Company. TWC.health/OTF. That's TWC.health/OTF. An amazing array of products, by the way. I've got my jerky sticks, by the way. They showed up. I haven't gotten my steaks yet. And I haven't opened these yet. I'm sure they're good. I've got about 5 more sticks. I was herbal medicated one night, and I went into Amazon, and I bought some candy and bought some jerky. And almost done with those. And then once I am, these ones are happening. I believe the other ones are shipped, so I should be getting my steaks soon. I'm looking forward to that. All said, that tripped me out that they've got that. I just think that's so cool that I can actually get, where's it, their meat stuff. Where's their meat stuff? Remember they got it down here. Beef jerky, protein sticks, beef boxes. There we go. Wellness Farms. They got a whole bunch of this stuff. I don't know. I like I said, I'm trying out the Cattleman's lean meats, filet mignon, top sirloin, London broil, tri-tip, flat iron, sirloin flap, right? But they got ribeye, Denver, skirt steak. They got awesome choices. They got the stew meats, like for the wintertime, the Rancher's Gut Health. It's incredible. Incredible products. Then they've got, like, if you guys rolled up your sleeve or you know somebody that did, the Ultimate Spike Detox. Thing's designed to find that cleavage. It likes to motorboat, as I like to joke. And it will find that spot, and it will its way all the way in. You know what I'm saying? And it'll pull it out of your system. You want to take advantage of that always. Also, they've got ivermectin collection. They've got a great mixture of different things. First off, they've got the Parasite Cleanse. Highly, 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 highly recommend that. I'm using it myself. I'm on my second round of it. And again, just it's a trip. There's a lot of it. I think it affects all of us differently. And I think you'll realize places where you're like, oh my God, I think I had way more parasites than I thought I did. Like for me, even digestion was a trip. Just how much I was bloating. A lot of those things have changed significantly. It's weird. Like my body processes food a little differently now than it ever used to, which I think is kind of cool. So that is the ivermectin mebendazole. It's a heavy dose of both. It's 1 pill a day, 90 pills The price is actually remarkable when you think about what you're getting in its 90 pills. They've got just plain old, good old-fashioned 18 milligram ivermectin. You can get that, $2.99. It's not a bad deal at all when you break down how many. You're getting 84 capsules. Not a bad price. Ivermectin cream, people are raving about this. They're noticing a lot of help when it comes to some of the, especially bald people, but people that are sensitive skin, maybe some solar damage, right? Maybe a little too many times in the tanning booth, whatever. You've got some weird stuff. This kind of helps with some of those maybe abnormal moles and things like that. Ivermectin cream is kind of a way to hit it from another angle while you might be getting it from the inside as well. But it helps. People are seeing some interesting changes, let's say, with their skin. Medical contagion kit. This is one I ordered. It should be coming, hopefully not with the meat per se, but I bought it at the same time. Looking forward to getting that one. But that one's your antiviral headquarters right there. Anything they put through with viruses. It's even got the azithromycin, so you've got an antibiotic, and it's got a budesonide inhaler. You got 5 of those vials, and the nebulizer. So you are set. Like the worst, they can throw the worst at you, and you've got ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine. You can double dose and hit it that way, and you'll knock out the virus quickly. If any infection manages to get in, you've got the azithromycin, and if for some reason, mucus buildup or any of those things get bad, you can't breathe, you've got the ability for the budesonide. The contagion kit's a lifesaver, especially for those of you that, like, flus can really, like, kick you in the ass. You probably want to have one of those on hand. Another one, Drop, weight loss. People are loving it. Again, I've got another product that I'm happy with, but Drop is also super cool. I mean, both these products are amazing. A lot of people are noticing huge results with Drop. It is helping with people's, no needles, nutrition and diet support, right? It's an oral peptide, drops for weight loss. Literally, it's just drops in your mouth. Like, it's about as easy as it gets, right? And their AQA-SUM technology protects peptides from stomach acids for better absorption, so it gets in, and it's helping with everything, I guess. They've got a number of different products that they're comparing it to. This stuff is significantly less expensive. It's helping with people's hunger, it's helping with the weight loss. It's curbing appetite, boosting energy, supporting metabolism. It's doing all the above. Like, they've got actual, like, products. It's kind of funny. When you go to their appetite weight control section, they've got all these different products, like appetite. This helps with your appetite. And then they've got stuff to curb the cravings before they start. And they got all these different great pills and stuff, which is cool. Melt for frequent daily use when cravings hit, right? Appetite suppressant, peak metabolism to speed up your metabolism. Or you just get Drop, and it does all these things. That's kind of cool, right? Just some drops. I don't know if you put them in your mouth or you put it in water. I don't know what you do with them. I haven't actually learned more about it. But yeah, faster, more focused weight loss goals when combined with healthy eating and exercise, powerful appetite support, easy to use liquid drops with adjustable dosing depending on your health goals as instructed on the label, and it's made with that AQA-SUM technology, right? So just good stuff. These guys, the products are amazing. Like, what I've gotten so far has been amazing. These sticks look fantastic. They're sealed in a very, very cool way, but they look delicious. They're jalapeno beef sticks, very much. No nitrates, and actually, when it comes to ingredients, there's only natural stuff in here. Yeah, natural stuff in here. There's no crazy. There's not even. They don't even have a weird like preservative. They've just got like the regular salts and stuff like that. That's pretty incredible. So again, beef boxes are awesome. These guys just everything they do. Everything they do. They've also got memberships too, by the way. If you want to see physicians do the telemedicine, they can do that. And you can get discounts on it, which also gets you discounts on the stuff you buy from the site. It's incredible. I love them. twc.health/OTF. TWC, the wellness company. twc.health/OTF. Make those healthy choices. Again, folks, the products I got, it's focusing on being healthy. Or at least protecting yourself from the fear so you don't have to worry about it, and then you can focus on the healthy, right? You've got the contagion kit, so you don't got to worry about it. Protect yourself. You got this. You got this, guys. All right, let's get the ball rolling. Back rolling again. What's this? Just the news, slowly loading. Florida designates the CARE Muslim Brotherhood foreign terrorist organization as well. So that's pretty fantastic. Interesting, this site doesn't want to load up, but that's cool. I remember the story. I had a small mishap with the computer. Well, not a mishap. There we go. It was more of a crash. It's the joy. Needless to say, Texas did this. Florida's following in suit, which is awesome. Texas got sued, I believe, so I think Florida's probably trying to get themselves in on that lawsuit. Some good publicity. Good job, guys. That's how you do it, frankly. The Biden's FBI identify the guy, this Brian Cole Jr., the pipe bomber person, the J6 pipe bomber. Yeah, they knew who this person was back in 2021, April, to be specific. It's literally in here, in emails or in this report. You don't need me to read it all, but it's. I guess I could do a little of it. The one part over here. So as the FBI continued analyzing large data sets from the carriers, certain devices exhibited behavior consistent with the suspect. For example, in April 2021, the case team identified a blank user who was in the area of the DNC at the time the suspect can be seen on video footage using their phone. The FBI requested and received the historical and tower data for the user, and as of April 2021, the case team was attempting to further analyze the user's movements. It is ultimately unclear what happened with the suspect to the lead. Now, down here, they talk about the provider records show that Cole cell phone, so this individual, Brian Cole, his cell phone, the guy who ultimately they have arrested. So back during Biden's administration, they had in fact figured out who this individual was, yet still did not actually do anything about it. What I'm calling T pressure is really T pressure in general, mainly with the Supreme Court. Donald Trump's really, I don't want to say nervous, but he's wanting to get a lot of attention to the whole tariff idea. So he had 3 posts in recent that really get into it, and I think relative to what we're going through in the world's interesting. But he was referencing a story, which I think I have open somewhere, but the EU nations weigh tariffs on China following Trump's lead on the trade deficits. So now the EU is talking about tariffing China, and I'll get to that somewhere over here. No, over here somewhere. We'll have the story. I won't spend a lot of time on it. But Trump truths, the biggest threat in history to the United States national security would be a negative decision on tariffs by the U.S. Supreme Court. We would be financially defenseless. Now, Europe is going to tariff against China, as they already do against others. We would not be allowed to do what others already do. Also, he said, because of tariffs easily and quickly applied, our national security has been greatly enhanced, and we have become the financial strongest country by far anywhere in the world. Only dark and sinister forces would want to see that end. Now, interestingly is this. Mexico continues to violate our comprehensive water treaty, and this violation is seriously hurting our beautiful Texas crops and livestock. Mexico still owes the U.S. over 800,000 acre-feet of water for failing to comply with our treaty over the past 5 years. The U.S. needs Mexico to release 200,000 acre-feet of water before December 31st, and the rest must come soon after. As of now, Mexico is not responding, and it is very unfair to our U.S. farmers who deserve this much-needed water. That is why I have authorized documentation to impose a 5% tariff on Mexico if this water isn't released immediately. The longer Mexico takes to release the water, the more our farmers are hurt. Mexico has an obligation to fix this now. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Now, this is Trump demonstrating, Supreme Court. This is why I need tariffs. I can't go to Congress and make this happen. That's absurd. We will never get anything done. Our country will literally be destroyed. We will be at a standstill, and we will have zero means to protect ourselves. In fact, at this point, we've even got Congress intervening on Trump's military strikes. They're trying to do essentially what they're doing to Netanyahu, by the way, which, again, right, wrong, and different. I don't know how I feel about Netanyahu. Here's Trump talking about birthright citizenship and how it was never meant to be like it is. This is another one of the big cases in front of the Supreme Court, or soon to be in front of the Supreme Court. They've actually, I think, agreed to take this one.
The case is very interesting because that case was meant for the babies of slaves. And if you look at the dates on the case, it was exactly having to do with the Civil War. That case was not meant for some rich person coming from another country, putting a foot in our country, and all of a sudden their whole family becomes, United States citizens. That case is all about slaves, the babies of slaves. And it was a good reason for doing it. And that's all it was about. And people now are understanding it. It's been explained to them, and I think the court understands it too. That would be a devastating decision if we lose that case.
That court,
because our country cannot afford to house tens of millions of people that came in through birthright citizenship. When that happened, that was meant for the babies of slaves. And if you look at the exact dates that it was passed, it all had to do with the Civil War and the ending of the Civil War. It's that little period of time, and people now are starting to understand.
Yeah, it's kind of insane how this is all happening. And again, we needed to get these things under control, and thank God we are, right? So some Trump pressure, if you will. 85,000 visas have been revoked since January, says the State Department. Got a fun little story here to talk about that, assuming I can do this right.
And the State Department says the Trump administration has revoked 85,000 visas since January. That's more than double last year's total. The total includes more than 8,000 student visas. A department official says crimes like DUI, assault, and theft account for nearly half the revocations. Other cases involve overstays and alleged national security concerns. Some of the revocations have sparked First Amendment concerns, especially involving international students tied to protests over the war in Gaza.
But see, that's the beautiful thing. You don't have a First Amendment right when you're here on a student visa. You're on your best behavior. You're staying at someone else's house. You don't get to trash their house because they were nice enough to let you inside. No, it's not how this works. So again, the deep state fighting this, but we will win this in the end. We've got Fannie Willis is apparently going to show up and testify before the state Senate committee. This is the Georgia Senate is wanting to talk to her, so they've issued a subpoena. She has agreed to show up for that. I don't know what's going to come from it, if anything gets leaked or not. Federal judge grants a Justice Department request to unseal Ghislaine Maxwell's sex trafficking case records. I know it's like Gillen or whatever the hell. Ghislaine's way more fun to say. So yeah, Justice Department publicly releasing these materials should be coming soon. I don't know. I mean, these are probably going to be checked out in case, people that were victims, their names are in there. Like, how's that going to work? I mean, I'm just putting it out there already because I don't want anyone to get overly excited. Yeah, you should learn to temper at this point by far. If you haven't yet, man, boy, this is going to continue to be tough for you. But yes, we'll see what happens. Harmeet Dillon announces new Second Amendment section of DOJ's Civil Rights Division. They've, I think, created basically a new section in her office that's aimed at protecting the rights of Americans to bear arms. I'm curious to see what comes out of this. It's one thing to say you've got a thing that can do this and are essentially a way to spend taxpayers' money. Let's see what we get out of this. We do know that they're, generally speaking, Trump's pro-Second Amendment. We know that. I believe we actually know he's got a concealed carry permit. In fact, I don't think he's probably carrying as president and really don't need to, but he might have back when he was running around in New York because it's a filthy, dirty city. No offense. Trump did say over the next few months something's going to be coming out about elections. Just saying.
I could show you a chart. It's a lot of land I lost.
It's a lot of land. I think
you got to think of it. If our election wasn't rigged, it was a rigged election now, everyone knows it. It's going to come out over the next couple of months too, loud and clear, because we have all the information there. But if the election wasn't rigged and stolen, you wouldn't even be talking about Ukraine right now.
The resounding consensus in Europe right now
is that you guys are crazy. You guys in Europe, I should say. Scott Bessent is telling us that these Trump accounts are going to be able to be spent however you want. I think there's a period of time where you can't touch them, or they're supposed to accrue or whatever. But needless to say, I think it's when the child's older. They're going to start it off at $1,000. The second the child's born, with the way compound interest works, by the way, that $1,000 by the time they're 18 or whatever, it will actually be a significant amount of money. In fact, my dad used to work on this kind of stuff, and he'd show me the actuaries. And it was a trip, because if I would have started donating are paying into a retirement account like at 18 and paid for 7 years and stopped versus waiting, I don't know, he said something like 5 years or 3 years or some crazy amount and then just start paying for the rest of my life. I actually would have made more doing it earlier and stopping. So this $1,000 is actually a big deal. Only goes to people that have children born in the coming, and it goes to the children, not the parents, right? It's in the child's name. But from 2025 to 2028, anyone born during that time, they will get this $1,000. It's pretty cool. In an account that they can't necessarily touch. They have no control over. It's going to be wildly diversified, low cost index, blah, blah, blah. It'll be a pretty cool thing, though. Pretty cool thing indeed. Meta's going to change policies after a huge EU fine. Now, this fine has to do with their targeting of advertising. Meta's probably guilty in this case. This isn't quite like the Facebook thing, but needless to say, this is Europe running out of money. This is Europe being broke. Musk claims EU commissars are responsible for murder of Europe. Big, bold thing to say, but he's considering he's being attacked personally and his company X for sure, and they'll probably attack others. They're going after this dude, so Musk's going after them hard, right? Going after them hard. The EU commissars are responsible for the murder of Europe. Yeah. European court censures Italy over African migrants. It's the stuff that's happening is just asinine. What's going on in England right now? I mean, everywhere. It's funny is a couple people out there are getting smart about it. We'll get there in a second. France is one. There's an individual within the French political party that's running for president, I believe, or prime minister or whatever. I think he's president. Yeah, Macron's president, I believe. But they're running for that position, and they're actually going against the migrant stuff. They're going against the way EU is controlling everything, this censorship, this free speech. They're getting smart. They're playing the game that, well, we're showing them the way over here. Demonstrate to the people all the corruption, and you shall have your people. CBS News posted this. Treasury Department tells Erica Kirk Turning Point USA is not under investigation following social media rumors. Anybody out there that was curious or had wondered, Treasury Department's like, no, we're not looking into Turning Point USA. That's not true. Be leery of who told you. I don't know where it came from. I have no idea who's spreading that rumor, by the way. That was the only reason I shared it was because I assume it's tied up in a lot of that Charlie Kirk smearing campaign that's going on right now, which is very, very sad. Trump says support for interest rate cut is a key test for any Fed chair nominee that's coming.
President Trump addressed the Federal Reserve in a new interview. Trump says support for immediately cutting interest rates would be a requirement for anyone he chooses to lead the agency. The comment came in a Politico interview released today.
Is it a litmus test that the new chair lower interest rates immediately?
Yes. Well, this guy should too, but I think he's a combination of not a smart person and doesn't like Trump. But
so
the
you've
reason he
spoken
doesn't
with your
like
potential...
Trump, well, the reason he doesn't like Trump is because I hit him hard because he's doing a bad job.
So you've talked to your potential candidates.
We're fighting through interest rates. Look, he's a negative, but this country is doing so well. Again, we have $18 trillion being invested. Car companies are moving back that left us years ago. AI is coming in at levels never seen before. Factories are opening up all over the country.
And Fed Chair Jerome Powell's leadership term ends this May, and Trump is expected to announce a successor early in the new year. The Senate Banking Committee will hold a hearing to vet the nominee, followed by a confirmation vote in the full Senate. Also during that Politico interview, President Trump praised the economy, giving it an A++, and said prices are falling across the board. He credited his administration's deregulation, tax cuts, and trade policies with bringing jobs and investment back to America. On health care, he remained non-committal about extending Obamacare subsidies, with premiums expected to spike in 2026. The president says Americans will get the money to buy the insurance that they want.
I miss my astronaut drink. That's all I'm going to say. I miss her a lot. I don't know what happened to her. I think she was sick. I hope she's okay. I hope she's not fired. I hope I didn't have anything to do with it. I can change. China's number 2 He's claiming Trump tariffs have dealt a severe blow to the economy. That sounded more Japanese, maybe. But he was at an international forum in Beijing on Tuesday. I don't believe him for a second. I mean, China just posted their largest trade deficit in history. Now, granted, it only went up like $10 billion maybe, but it's at $1 trillion. So like 10 billion's a lot, but I mean, come on. It's $1,000 billion, right? $1 trillion, 1,000 billion. So it went up another 10, and it was just at like 990 some thousand billion, and then it went up to like 114,000 billion, right? So it's basically just barely $1 trillion. But anyway, they're saying what Trump has done with tariffs is, it's hurt. It's painful. It's taught us a lesson. Now, they do a lot of shenanigans to make their numbers happen, by the way. They do currency reevaluations. The government itself actually helps in waves. They also use slave labor and diminished wages labor, and they're able to control that to a large extent. They don't let them have access to any of the crap that most of us sell, other than like produce or meat. They love pork. They don't mind our pork too much. Though my Chinese friend tells me she likes Chinese pork better. She thinks it tastes better from there, but I'm assuming because she was born there. That's why she feels that way. But EU nations weigh tariffs on China following Trump's lead on trade deficits. So they're even following lead. They're like, oh, you're killing us with this trade deficit. We can't afford this. This is got to stop. French President Emmanuel Macron, douchehole, came as China reported a world record $1 trillion trade surplus with the rest of the world. So biggest ever. Again, it went up. It went up. I'm not trying to take away from China, but a lot of these numbers are sort of controlled in weird ways. So this is all meant to make it sound like China's something to be scared of. And everybody says that. They're not there yet. China would have been. Given them 5 more years and us just being stupid, and for sure, we'd be owned by China. Owned. Because they would have outproduced just the numbers, like in the number of people that were going to flood in here and then steal all of our technology. Oh, it would have been a done deal. A done deal. And we would have just been stupid. Like idiocracy. We would have just been, walking around in those Crocs, whatever those stupid shoes are called. No offense to any of you that have them. I know they're super comfortable from what I hear. I don't own a pair. Sorry. They make ones that are like Doc Martens or something. Maybe I'll check them out. I didn't want to really bring this up, but it popped up a second time, so whatever. Donald Trump, he informed President Xi of China that the United States is going to allow NVIDIA to ship its H200 products to approved customers in China and other countries under conditions that allow for continued strong national security. It is not our newest chip. That's the Blackwell chip that's coming out, and they're not going to have access to that. So the Blackwell chip most likely is an evolution that's a multiplier or a quantum multiplier, most likely, to a large extent. So I would expect these new NVIDIA chips are going to be incredible. And if they can somehow get those into a graphics card and I do have that. I do have one of the headsets. I hate wearing it because I got to put contacts in to be able to wear it. Man, the second they come in with programming for like my eyesight, like I take my glasses off and just put the headset on, and now all of a sudden it's perfect. Oh, I'm in heaven. I'll use that stupid thing all the time. It's cool as hell. There's if you guys ever played Half-Life, the virtual version of Half-Life is freaking awesome. And I've got the Valve Steam version of the headset thing. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool, guys. Not that I'm trying to sell it for them, but it is super cool. All right, let's see where things change. Initially, gold and silver. Silver was up a butt ton this morning, but we'll see. I didn't even take a picture of it because it is what it is. It's a bunch of games right now, frankly. I don't believe any of this crap. Dow's down a little bit. I don't know, 0.38%, yay. 0.09% on the S&P. NASDAQ's up about 0.13%. Gold is up about $20. Silver, it's still up a bunch. Silver's up $2.80 right now. So it's at $61.20. $61.20. It was at 29-something at the start of the year. We're now at $61. It's more than doubled now, actually. It's at 27 $2.79 right now, up 61.20. Damn, that is just craziness, right? 4.79% jump today. I'm telling you, silver's the thing. Gold is going to hold your value. Gold holds your buying power. Gold is awesome for that. You're not going to make money on gold by any stretch. Right now, silver, you're actually going to make money on a little bit. I mean, 2-3 times. There's still a couple more bumps that are coming, guys. So I'm telling you, if you got a 401k or an IRA, get out. Get out while you can. Or at least divest a bunch into gold and silver. And I would honestly get as much silver as makes sense. Again, it's a physical coins. They do it tax-free, penalty-free too, by the way. It's a sideways thing. You're going to move as much of that money as you can sideways. And you'll be impressed with how well they do with that. But it's put into a trust. So you get little tubes with your name on it, and they're stacked. And basically how much space you take up is what you got to kind of rent out, if you will. So you kind of got to keep that in mind. Silver is where it's at. Now, I'm going to tell you this. Goldco, they're going to give you up to 10% free silver. So you divest out, say, 100 grand, for example. Okay? 100 grand, they're going to give you an extra 10% free silver. You're going to get $10,000 of silver, which I believe they can send to you. Now, it's considered income, so that'll show up on a tax record of some kind, but you would have that silver in hand, $10,000 worth if you've got 100 grand. What if you got $1 million? That's $100,000 of silver. Now, you can invest that, put that in the trust, or you can have them send it your way. Sometimes having it in hand is a very powerful thing, and maybe you can figure out a way to deal with the tax implications. Maybe not. Who knows? It's up to you. All said, Goldco's awesome. Tax-free, penalty-free. Moving your money, divesting out, holding, protecting your buying power. And then in the case of silver, you're looking at multipliers kicking in. 2 to 3 times probably at this point, at least. $200 is, I think, possible within 2-3 years. When the Fed finally goes down, I would assume silver is going to be in that realm, 175 to 200 probably-ish. At that point, gold's probably going to be 8,000-9,000. I mean, probably 6,000, 7,000 probably makes more sense when you break the math down. But it's going to be up quite a bit from where we are now. Again, it's going to protect your wealth. Silver, you're going to see some enhancements that are going to make you smile. You pay a small premium when you buy silver, but there's enough baked in to make that premium not matter. That's the beauty of how it all works. Gold and silver is just how it is. There's a bid price, a sell price. So it is what it is. My friends at Goldco, they worry about all that themselves, and they help make it as easy as possible for you. They're the best customer service out there when it comes to questions. Ask away. Don't ask them what to do. Don't ask them to give you advice. That's not what they're there to do, and legally they're not allowed to. They're there to make this process happen, to provide as much information as possible, and to let you come to those conclusions. Now, you can ask questions that are fact-based and stuff like that, and they'll answer for you, of course, right? But, is this a good idea for me? Nah, don't ask them stuff like that. Of course, we believe in it. Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I think it is. They think it is. We all think it is. But it's up to you to protect your wealth. This is one of the only ways you can do it. And gold and silver is where you go when the economy's crashing. Not the economy in the sense of the American economy, but from the standpoint of the Federal Reserve note economy. That is dying a death right now, and we'll see how that plays out in the big picture. But all said, you can capitalize on it and protect your wealth with these great guys. DRSlikesgold.com, DRSlikesgold.com, DRSlikesgold.com for data points. If you can call within 20 minutes, you're probably going to hook up with, you're definitely going to get a half-ounce Ronald Reagan collectible silver coin, 0.99% pure. It's a beautiful coin. It's friggin' awesome. It's Reagan doing a little salute on the front. It's collectible. Half-ounce, pure silver. It's worth, at this point, half a 61.40 or whatever it was. So $30.75 or whatever. $30.75 just for saying, hey, thanks for giving us a call within 20 minutes. That's how much we care. You'll get that coin no matter what. They'll send that to you, just period. Yeah, that's how that works. It's pretty awesome. Go to DRSlikesgold.com, DRSlikesgold.com. Up to 10% free silver, guys. Take advantage of it while you can. DRSlikesgold.com, DRSlikesgold.com. Get out of that nasty system, folks. All right, we got some major cool health stuff here. NDAA is requiring Trump spy agencies to declassify the intel they have on COVID-19 origins and Chinese obstruction. That information will be coming, whatever can. Ratcliffe and Tulsi Gabbard are going to be heavily involved in this. Well, sorry, Tulsi Gabbard and the 18 intelligence agencies, one of which Ratcliffe is in charge of, but CIA is probably pretty heavily involved, as well as a few of the others. So we'll find out some information hopefully soon. We'll see. Our friend Dr. Oz is talking about how the Democrats' Obamacare fraud enriches Big Pharma. I wanted you guys to hear him say it. I haven't heard Dr. Oz in a long time. Didn't he get his start from Oprah? Which always freaked me out about him being involved, but I feel like he's had a change of heart. He's probably a good guy now. I hope. Better be. Dr. Oz, you better be.
The Government Accountability Office just released a shocking interim report on widespread fraud within Obamacare. Let me explain what's going on. During the pandemic, the previous administration took a variety of actions that weakened crucial safeguards. For example, they eliminated common sense income verifications, which are central to making sure people actually qualify for the program. They also expanded the number of people who got completely free health insurance via what are called $0 premium plans, which is a huge problem because if you don't pay anything for a plan, you might forget that you have it, or you may be enrolled in it by an unscrupulous insurance broker without your knowledge. To date, we've received complaints from hundreds of thousands of Americans who didn't know they were enrolled in an Obamacare plan until they got paperwork from the IRS related to their tax credits. So, why was this allowed to happen? Because the past administration prioritized achieving big program enrollment numbers over protecting program integrity. The problem here is that you, the American taxpayer, are footing the bill for all of this fraud in the form of tax subsidies. Under President Trump and Secretary Kennedy, we are not sitting idly by. We've uncovered 4.4 million improper enrollments, including roughly 1.6 million individuals who were enrolled in both Medicaid and an Obamacare plan in 2024, which taxpayers, by the way, are footing the bill in both of these cases. You get double insurance. You're not paying for either. We've already started cleaning up the system by removing about 1 million people from Obamacare who are or should be covered somewhere else. This alone is going to save taxpayers billions in waste. In fact, the very first rule we announced in this administration was our marketplace integrity and affordability rule, which would have, and I'm listing it out, enforced common sense income verification checks, made sure people who were enrolled knew they were enrolled, and blocked illegal immigrants from accessing taxpayer-funded care. But here's the bonus of it all. Our rule would have lowered premiums across the board for Americans by an average of 5%. That's a lot of money. Now, we're on track, doing fine, until Blue Cities brought a politically motivated lawsuit against us, tying up this important rule in litigation. I want to applaud Congress for at least giving us some additional tools through the Working Families Tax Cut legislation that will enable us to bolster verification in future years. Meanwhile, we're continuing to fight every day to clean up the Obamacare problems, and as this report rightly points out, there's still a lot of work to be done.
I love the fact that, he's pointing out the fact that, dude, this is what happened and why we're kind of getting screwed on this and why we have not been able to demonstrate a lot of the successes. There's so many people that are saying promises made but not kept. And folks, in reality, to get anything done within 2 years is impressive. And we've accomplished so much already. So, again, the next election is going to matter a lot. The most important election will be the one that follows. I hope to God we've got the next election secured. We'll see. This is powerful stuff here, too. FDA Commissioner Dr. Marty Makary just floated a weird, stunning possibility about HIV and Fauci and a laboratory maybe in Africa.
If I were to ask you right now, where did AIDS come from, what would you say?
And speaking of the film, thank you, Dr. Fauci, they explore a non-traditional narrative which has not gotten the attention it deserves, and that is that it may very well have come from a lab in Africa.
AIDS could have come from a lab in Africa.
HIV.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, HIV, which is a big difference. AIDS is acquired immune deficiency syndrome. It's a syndrome that comes from having your immune system destroyed by HIV virus. Again, I wonder how ivermectin and stuff like that works on that virus. Because all they got to do is put that in the really expensive medicine. It's interesting. Here's Pete Hegseth telling us today we're unleashing General AI Mill. This might freak some people out, but Skynet is forming.
The future of American warfare is here, and it's spelled AI. As technologies advance, so do our adversaries. But here at the War Department, we are not sitting idly by. Under the leadership of President Trump, America will lead the charge on this technological transformation by revolutionizing the way we win. And that's why today we are unleashing GenAI.mil. This platform puts the world's most powerful frontier AI models, starting with Google Gemini, directly into the hands of every American warrior. At the click of a button, AI models on GenAI can be utilized to conduct deep research, format documents, and even analyze video or imagery at unprecedented speed. Building on the great work of Undersecretary Emil Michael and his team, we will continue to aggressively field the world's best technology to make our fighting force more lethal than ever before. And all of it is American-made. The possibilities with AI are endless. Now, let's get to work.
The weird thing is, guys, and I'm just saying, this is just me, right? But the weird thing about it, again, I'm tripping on the feeling aspect of it. My spidey senses are usually surprisingly good. Like, it trips me out a lot of the times, like how often, too. This all feels oddly unnecessary. Like, what's going to happen is sort of outside of this. But what I do see this as, so it's useful in my mind, is it is uniting us towards a common goal, towards a common good, like Ronald Reagan's infamous speech. Would it take some sort of outside of this earth force to cause us to finally unite as one planet? So we seem to be maybe heading in a direction similar to that. It serves the purpose, I guess. We're going to beat up on England a little bit right here, just because we can. Britain, RT News, by the way, is Russian time, so, you know, they don't like England way more than we don't like England, probably. Britain is incapable of running nuclear submarines. This is what an ex-Royal Navy chief is saying. Now, again, that's like a lot of these people that are ex-whatever the hell's in our government that say Donald Trump is stupid. But I don't think England really is spending the money on their military. In fact, we've got this story too. UK Navy needs more cash to ward off Russian advantage, says a commander. This is the whole discussion around what Trump is doing with NATO. NATO is going to soon be America free. That's my guess. North Atlantic Treaty. We're not in the North Atlantic. Not at all. Really. That's not really our problem. We were part of this thing because of what happened in World War II, but NATO's kind of gone off in its own directions. NATO's doing a lot of strange stuff, and we don't want to finance all that. We're tired of it, much like many European nations out there, France, Germany, Hungary, Italy, to name a few. The ones that pay a good, Germany, France pay a huge majority of it. I forget who's number 3. I don't remember. Italy, I feel like, is pretty far down the road. Whatever. So, England, they're in a tough place right now, too. My take was, and I actually wrote this down earlier today. It's funny. It just popped into my head to talk about this, too. So, obviously, this was for a reason. They have been siphoning money off us all like mad because they were planning on destroying most of the population, 95% of the population. It was on the Georgia Guidestones. Per the Georgia Guidestones, I should say, 95% of humanity was supposed to go bye-bye. Most of us, now especially, are messing with that. But what these countries have been doing, and these individuals in politics, these Pelosi's and people that have been in there forever, were taking the spoils, where they were getting as much enrichment as they could. But the problem was Trump. Trump effed that all up. So now you've got all these people with, cookie crumbs all over their face and just gobs of cash just sticking out of their clothing. And it's obvious what they did because they didn't think they needed to cover it. That was never the plan. Yet, here they are. facing, I mean, the Grim Reaper, kind of. To a large extent, a lot of these guys will choose death or will surprisingly end up falling from multiple stories above. We'll hear a number of weird stories. And so, again, how these people are taken care of or finalized or imprisoned will be interesting. And what will be the most interesting is the ones that are allowed to live versus the ones that seem to have committed suicide. EU's ex-fine as a violent attack on free speech, French party leaders saying. So we've got this French party leader that's getting smart about this. He's like, let's capitalize on this. French people hate what has been happening. They hate the institutionalization. They hate the deep state. And the deep state's been the problem. That's what this whole fight's been about. They won't get a fair election because Macron is a pile of trash and nobody likes any of the people he keeps putting in as prime minister, and they keep immediately failing. I think they've had, 7 governments or something? Whatever. It's crazy how badly it's going for them. Very unlikely to ever survive any sort of election. I think he has to step down anyways because of the term limits or something, but whatever. So yeah, this dude's taking advantage of this. Smart move. I don't really care what his name is because I don't think I've got any people in my audience that are French. I make fun of the French too often. I'm surprised I got British listeners. I don't make fun of you guys per se. I have respect for the Brits, but you guys really in a weird place right now. Netanyahu rejects retirement in exchange for pardon. And they were like, yeah, we'll pardon you if you retire. And he's like, hey, you see where this finger is? Why don't you shove it up your ass? And with more of an Israeli accent, though. It would have, I think, sounded like that. Russian military transport plane crashes. This is sort of, I feel bad. People probably died, and I feel really bad, so it's horrible. And there's just a weird irony in this story that I'm not gonna be able to resist sort of saying. But it's an AN-22 aircraft. It was conducting a post-maintenance flight. They did maintenance to fix it. And they were flying it to make sure everything was groovy. And it crashed. Who wants to bet the maintenance wasn't done properly? Just a guess. I'm not an expert. Could have messed up something else fixing the thing they fixed. I've worked with enough systems to know you tweak something over here and you break something over there and you're like, how are those even connected? Then you spend the time following these weird threads and you're like, shit, really? There's this weird rogue server that nobody knows about. Oh, it'll trip you out. It's amazing the tools we have, too. That tripped me out a bunch. I learned a bunch of stuff just being on a couple of those phone calls. That was awesome. I was very lucky in my position. That's all I can say. They called me a trauma coordinator. That was one of my coolest titles. That was one of the best jobs I had. Stressful as hell, but it was a great job. And I was the one that handled when we had, outages, and outages could cost us millions of dollars per hour. It was like, oh. So yeah, it was just keeping everyone calm, and I was perfect for that job. Really, I handle chaos rather well. I do. We're kind of in the middle of it now, and I'm telling you, I'm gonna be pretty cool, pretty calm. I'm not gonna be right 100% of the time, but most of the time, you'll see. Trump hits at military option in Venezuela, declares Maduro regime nearing the end. Now, again, this could have had to do with that meeting that was at 12:30 today. I don't know if anything's come out yet or been leaked yet from the Gang of Eight. There's only one place it's going to leak from, which will be interesting. Again, this will just prove it. So whatever they talked about will probably be leaked. It probably already has been. I just, unfortunately, don't want to go digging through the news live right now while I'm recording. Got to draw a line somewhere in the day. Trump is ramping up pressure on Zelensky to accept the peace deal. A couple little pieces of interview here with him that were pretty good.
If Zelensky rejects this deal, is there a timeline? Is there a point at which you say, okay?
Well, he's going to have to get on the ball and start accepting things. When you're losing, because you're losing.
Do you think Ukraine has lost this war?
Well, they've lost territory. Long before I got here, they lost a whole strip of seafront, big seafront. You look at the maps. I've been here for 10 months, but you go back 10 months and take a look. They lost that whole strip. It's now a bigger strip. It's a wider strip, but they lost a lot of land, and it's very good land too that they lost. You certainly wouldn't say it's a victory. I could show you a chart. It's a lot of land they lost.
Now, this is the reason, the problem that Europe specifically has. United States would have had in the prior administration, but not this current administration. There's only one thing that Zelensky can do, is either A, continue to fight the war and bleed Ukrainian blood every day, or tell on all the people that have been complicit in the corruption that is occurring. You see, there's no way Zelensky survives 1 second outside of this war. 1 second outside of his ability to be president or whatever, because they're going to talk about he should have elections soon. Not quite yet, I don't think. This is key. Zelensky is a total Patsy's not even, he's like Forrest Gump. He's just a weird, he's a puppet. He's an actor. He's good at doing what he's told, and he's paid very well for it. The corruption is coming out. The power of the pen is going to play a role in all of this. This is talking about peace proposal. Yeah, he didn't even read it yet. Now, we're going to update that story, but still, nonetheless, Trump was pretty pissed about the fact that he hadn't even read the peace proposal yet. He knew he couldn't accept it because of the land thing. He just didn't publicly want to say anything until he had his little friends in Europe to hang out with and feel safe and comfortable because they promised him money. So now all of a sudden, X gets sued for $140 million. Where do you think that's going? Probably directly to pay for Zelensky and other things. Soft funds, if you will.
Is Zelensky responsible for the stalled progress, or what's going on there?
Well, he's got to read the proposal. He hasn't read it
the most
yet.
recent draft.
That's as of yesterday. And maybe he's read it over the night. It would be nice if he would read it. You know, a lot of people are dying, so it would be really good if he'd read it. His people loved the proposal. They really liked it. His lieutenants, his top people, they liked it. But they said he hasn't read it yet. I think he should find time to read it.
Lieutenant. I used to work at a grocery store, and the guys would get on at nights. We'd have this thing called final purchases because the store would close at midnight, and we'd work into the morning, you know. And they'd get on the intercom and like, Lieutenant Dan, you are getting final purchases. All the time. It was funny as hell. Good group of guys. I had a good time on that stock crew. Trump calls for Ukraine to hold new presidential election. You know, this isn't popular right now.
A lot of people are dying, so it would be really good if he'd read it. His people loved the proposal. They really liked it. His lieutenants, his top people, they liked it. But they said he hasn't read it yet. I think he should find time to read it.
Is it time for Ukraine to hold an election, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. It's been a long time. It hasn't been doing particularly well. Yeah, I think it's time. I think it's an important time to hold an election. You know, they're using war not to hold an election, but I would think the Ukrainian people would, you know, should have that choice, and maybe Zelensky would win. I don't know who would win, but they haven't had an election in a long time. You know, they talk about a democracy, but it gets to a point where it's not a democracy anymore.
On Sunday, your son, Donald Trump Jr., responded to a reporter's question about whether you will, quote, walk away from Ukraine. And your son said, I think he may. Is that correct?
No, it's not correct, but it's not exactly wrong. We have to, you know, they have to play ball if they don't read agreements, potential agreements. You know, it's not easy with Russia because Russia has the upper hand. And they always did. They're much bigger. They're much stronger in that sense. I give Ukraine I give the people of Ukraine and the military of Ukraine tremendous credit for the, you know, bravery and for the fighting and all of that. But, you know, at some point, size will win generally. And this is a massive size. You take a look at the numbers. I mean,
just to point out too. So even his sons don't know what's happening. A lot of times speculations are happening by many. So again, just be open. Like I've said before, the more that I've come to know, the more that I've come to learn, the more stuff that I've been like, for sure, in this direction, the more I've realized I don't know a damn thing. There's almost nothing that we truly know. It's kind of annoying. A lot of mostly know. Do you fully know? Unless it's something that you yourself have experienced, you don't know. It sucks. There's so much of what we all deal with today, right now, that has nothing to do with like our own personal inside world, which I keep saying matters most. Just saying. Calling for elections. Zelensky says ready for elections after Trump indicated he's an obstacle to peace. Yeah, he's totally an obstacle to peace, and he's not open to elections. In fact, Kiev sends conscripts straight to the front line now. Straight to the front line. I just thought I had a story that talked about how that basically he talked to Europe and he refused the deal. I had that somewhere. That story was in play at one point, but yeah, they were going to make a deal, and they came back and said we cannot accept any loss of land. I wish I would have had that story up. Sorry, guys. It was either I skipped past it or I just never hit enter or something weird. All said, this is going to continue. There was a dude that was on Nino. I don't remember what his name is. He's a guy that's tied in with the KGB and everything else. And he's done some predictions by dates in the past, which was meant to get us to believe him, by the way. I'm not saying I believe him. Please understand that. In fact, I don't believe him. His date might be accurate. But, again, it's just there's certain things that are kind of funny where people pop up and all of a sudden they've got credentials out of the blue and they happen to know a date or two. It's interesting, but nonetheless, people are utilizing certain things more than they're supposed to, I think. Well, we'll see. We'll see, guys. That's all I can say. I'm doing my best to help out. I don't trust pretty much anybody. I trust you guys, for the most part. Even some of you guys are a little weird. A little bit. Some of you guys. It's okay, though. So am I. It's okay. We're all a little strange. That's kind of why we fit together. Birds of a feather flock together, they say. So, there you go. We're a lot of the spotted nature, if you will. I love you guys. We're going to continue this fight. I'm going to continue to do the best I can. And you guys are going to continue to make ripples the best you are. You guys are amazing at it, by the way, and you're going to get better and better. But we're just do the best you can. Help as many as we can. Point that flashlight wherever, but do the best you can. I love you guys. Where we go one, we freaking go all, baby. It's on the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.